Welcome to this video on the Supreme Court case of Togado versus People. We will explore the critical legal concepts of chain of custody and corpus delicti in the context of firearms offenses. This video examines the factual antecedents of the case, specifically focusing on the execution of search warrant number 14-948 and the subsequent seizure of physical evidence. On May 29, 2014, officers executed a search warrant for unlicensed firearms at the residence of Benjamin Togado. While a firearm and ammunition were recovered, the seizing officer failed to mark the items directly, opting only to mark the plastic container, which was later lost. The trial revealed significant irregularities. Due to a failure to mark the actual items and the loss of the original container, the chain of custody was broken. Furthermore, the officer could not definitively testify that the gun in court was the one originally seized. This video will now address the legal issues, including the validity of the search warrant and the prosecution's burden of proof in illegal firearm cases. The court considered whether the warrant met constitutional standards, whether the prosecution proved the existence of the identical firearm, and what impact a broken chain of custody has on the case. Ultimately, the Supreme Court ruled in a unanimous en banc decision to acquit the accused, citing reasonable doubt. The Supreme Court affirmed that the search warrant itself was valid, having been issued upon probable cause and describing the place and items with particularity. However, the case against the accused failed due to critical preservation errors. Under Republic Act 10,591, the prosecution must establish the corpus delicti, the existence of the exact item confiscated. Because the identicality of the firearm could not be established, the court found reasonable doubt. Law enforcement has a legal obligation to preserve the integrity and identity of seized evidence. By failing to mark the firearm itself, they created a fatal vulnerability, meaning the court could not base a conviction on speculation. The Court of Appeals had misapplied the Olarte ruling. The Olarte exception, which excuses the non-production of a weapon, only applies when the item was lost during the crime. Since the police had actually recovered the firearm, they were required to identify it strictly. The core principle established here is clear. Failure to physically mark confiscated contraband prevents the identification of the corpus delicti beyond reasonable doubt, leading to an acquittal. This concludes our video summary of Togado versus People. Thank you for watching.